Okay, am I ready? I think I am now. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia and I film all sorts of content from food reviews and just useful tips that can make your life a bit better. So today I have a topic that I want to speak about that is something that I've been thinking a lot about in the last couple of weeks, and that's about self-care. It's a word that's been thrown out there a lot, especially with the growth of the internet. Everyone's always talking about self-care, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. But it's very important to be specific on what exactly that means, especially to you as a person. There's so many types of self-care, like the physical things you do, like doing your hair, doing your nails, taking a bath, things that make you feel good on the outside. But there's also emotional and mental self-care that make you feel good on the inside and help you function better as an individual. I want to talk about everyday self-care tips. I've compiled a list of 10 tips that can act as an everyday self-care guide. So tip number 1 that I have is taking charge of your phone. This actually came up when I saw one of my friends had posted a quote that was saying, don't need to be a person who's always on call, someone who's always receiving phone calls immediately that they come, responding to notifications immediately that they come through. And I sat down and realized that, it is very unhealthy for people to always expect that whenever they call, whenever they text you, you're supposed to respond immediately, because there's other things you're doing in life. You can't just be on your phone always on standby waiting for a phone call or for a notification. And we have to take responsibility and take charge of that by saying, I'm going to decide how I'm going to be interacting with my phone. Limit your notifications. That way, you're not going on about your day and a notification pops up and you immediately have to grab your phone, because now, that will take your attention and you're just forced to constantly be looking and immediately responding. But it's also respectful to make sure that as much as you don't respond immediately, get back to the people who are trying to get back to you. The other tip that I have is good sleep hygiene. There is a lot to talk about when it comes to sleep, but as a basic, you just need to be intentional about your sleep routine and what happens before and after you go to bed. When you look at your room and where you're sleeping, how is it? What's the level of comfort? How are your beddings? What's around your room? Are there some things that you can clear out just to make sure that when you're coming into the room, it's not full of clutter and you just already feel tired seeing the room? In terms of your night routine, how does it link up to you now going to sleep? Are there a few things that you need to change so that you make sure the actual sleep is not affected? Are you actually getting 8 hours of sleep? When you're grown and you're working and you have all these responsibilities, it's not the easiest thing to get 8 hours of sleep, but you have to be intentional on making sure that you allocate a time for yourself where you're like, okay, past this point, I need to start winding down. I need to stay away from my phone. I need to get started on my bedtime routine so that by this particular time, I'm ready for bed. I get into bed and I can get those 8 hours of sleep. The other thing is, especially back to our phones, constantly grabbing our phones the first thing when we wake up. And personally, I'm also guilty of that sometimes, because you just sleep when you have something on your mind, and when you wake up, that's the first thing that comes up. But if you can try and spend at least the first 15 to 30 minutes just waking up, being present, engaging in other healthier habits like meditation, reading the Bible if you do, just to wake you up on a positive note, and then you can interact with your phone. The third tip that I have is making sure that you have intentional time that you set aside to be able to listen to yourself and just find out how you're doing. One of the things you can do is journaling. When you get into the habit of journaling, it means that you will automatically allocate a time where you can sit down and write in a book the feelings that you're feeling. So many things happen during the day. Sometimes you might be feeling certain emotions, but you're not really able to sit down and be present and find out how you're actually doing. Symptoms that you're not really doing that is either you're getting too angry, you're getting too irritated, you're always feeling tired, and when you sit down and realize, you're like, hang on, a while back this happened it was something that was upsetting to me, it was something that was shocking to me, but I didn't even take time to be present and process those emotions that I'm feeling. And that way you can always catch things quick before they actually build up into something that's a bit more difficult to deal with, and you'll always be in check with your emotions. Tip number 4 is about the content that you consume. What you don't realize is that there is no filter as to the type of content that's being created. So at any time, both positive, negative, harmful, helpful content is being thrown at us. So you as an individual, you have to learn how to limit the type of content that you're consuming. You don't have to take up everything, because when you take up all different types of things, you're taking on that energy, and it will slowly start affecting the way you're feeling, how you do things. The first step to that is obviously realizing, okay, what type of a person do I want to be? Then off of that you decide, then what sort of content am I supposed to be consuming? That's why sometimes you find that you're trying to set goals, you're trying to achieve those goals, but you're not really making progress. But when you look around you, are you even intentionally consuming any content that can give you motivation, that can push you to do the things that you've said you want to do? Tip number 5 is the things that we consume. As we're getting older, we're realizing that literally whatever we are eating is showing on our bodies. If you're eating things that are not healthy, your body is immediately going to tell you that, hey, you're not eating the best. And I know this is a very controversial one, because people really struggle with diets, what to eat, and there's so many factors to consider, like finances, convenience, accessibility to good healthy foods. But there are still little things that you can do every day to make sure that the things that you're ingesting are a bit better. How about you decide to have everything in moderation? Like if you're consuming alcohol, consume it in moderation. If you're eating sugary and fatty things, consume them in moderation. If it's very difficult to do things in moderation or cut out things that we know very well are not healthy, how about incorporating healthier things as you work around how you're going to take out the unhealthy things? As long as you're healthy, you don't see the importance of it. But as you get older and you start getting sick and you start wondering, how did I get to this point? You don't want to be sitting down and be thinking, I could have made different choices. Let it be that you're sick because of things beyond your control, but whatever you can do, just try and do it to live a healthier lifestyle. Tip number 6 is about planning ahead. It's very important to take time out of your day or your week to just plan how you want things to go and things that you want to do. This one is tightly linked with boundaries, because if you're not able to plan your day or to plan your week, that's when you'll find people come to you asking you for things to do, asking you to go places. It's like we're waiting for the day to tell us what to do, instead of us saying, this is what I want of this day. But because you didn't really have a plan for your day or week, you find yourself saying yes, because at the back of your mind you're thinking, you know what, there's nothing I was doing anyway, so what's the big deal in saying yes? But then after the incident happens, you get angry at yourself. You're like, you know what, I probably should not have said yes to that. But how do you substitute that? If you take time and look at your schedule, you're able to allocate different things for different times, and you're also able to allocate important things to do, like rest, self-care, as we're talking about. And then after that, you can be like, the remaining time I can choose to either accommodate someone else, like go somewhere, go and visit someone, do someone the favor they asked me to do. That way you're more in control of your time and what's happening. Tip number 7 is being able to grow your emotional intelligence and just having the ability to read the room. Sometimes we make decisions or we do things simply because we did not take time to really observe what's going on around us. I'll give you an example. You might be in a situation where, let's say you're working with a group of people and you're really struggling at work, like whatever you do is not being appreciated, and all the time it constantly makes you angry, and you're always venting to yourself or to your friends or to your family about how difficult the situation is. What we usually forget to do in such a situation is just take a step back and observe as an outsider, and just try to see what exactly is happening. You might find in that situation that maybe there's something that you did that is making these people respond in this way, or there's something that you're not doing, non-verbal cues that you're not picking up on as to why these people are doing some of these things. This is very important in life because it will save us a lot of heartache and a lot of opportunities to be hurt if we learn just to sit back and look at what's happening around us. It lets you be in charge of yourself a little bit more. It's very empowering for yourself, as opposed to always being caught off guard simply because you're not listening, you're not paying attention. Tip number 8 is about information sharing. I believe it's very empowering if you as an individual, you can take control of the information that you want to share about yourself. Not everything you need to tell people when it happens. Sometimes we can share information prematurely and then it has negative consequences. Or sometimes you can be in a situation where you're being coerced to share information before you're ready. And it's very important to take that power back for yourself and be like, this is my life. I'm the one who's in charge of my life. Therefore, I'm going to decide the information that I want to share out there. Say, for example, you go for an interview and they hire you, but they haven't sent you contracts, they haven't sent you anything to sign. And then a few days later, they backtrack and they say, look, we found someone else to do the job. I'm sorry, we're not going to continue with your hiring process. First, you told people that, yes, I've gotten a job, everything is okay. And now you have to backtrack and go back and explain, oh, so I didn't get the job. Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? As opposed to waiting, sign the contract, start working, give yourself some time. And then you can go announce to people, look, I got a new job. And it's not even about other people and what they will think. It's about protecting yourself and being like, I don't have to constantly subject myself to an emotional roller coaster of explaining to people and having to deal with the reactions these people will have towards you. As much as people will not tell you what they think, if you're constantly the kind of person who's sharing news and then things are not happening, you'll start to look disorganized. It's like you're confused. They'll start thinking it's you. And in reality, it's not. Things happen in life. Protect yourself from that. Tip number 9 is just learning to be vocal. There is a bunch of people, me included, who it's very difficult to say when something is wrong. You're not caring for yourself if you cannot use your mouth to be vocal and say when you're not okay. At some point, if you're someone who struggles with this, you have to make a choice between being real and true to yourself and the negative feeling and discomfort that comes with you being vocal about what you're saying. If you're at work and the conditions are not the best, try and speak up about it. If you have a friend or a relationship and there are things that are happening that shouldn't be happening, get the confidence to speak up. And as much as the consequences can be unintended, deep down you will be happy that you are authentic and true to yourself. Tip number 10, which is the final tip that I have today, is about being proactive about your health and well-being. You cannot sit there and expect anybody around you to remind you of the checkups that you're supposed to be going for. It's not very responsible to sit down and wait for when you're falling sick or things are happening for you to be startled into being more proactive about your health. You get to a certain age where now it becomes lifestyle diseases that crop up on you out of nowhere. And every day we're being told about the checks that we should be doing. When something happens, are you going to be able to sit with yourself and be like, okay, I could have made different choices. I could have done things differently. This goes to the extent of just doing research and finding out what's happening. Like what happens when you get to a certain age? How do things change? What should I be more conscious about? You know? Yeah, so we've come to the end of the 10 tips that I had. This is also something that I'm constantly drilling on myself, being more proactive about my self-care. And I know no one is perfect. Sometimes we slip up, sometimes we're just like, I don't feel like doing anything. But it's just important to pick out a few habits that you can incorporate into your life, just so that you have a better quality life. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your friends. And if you have any other tips that you want to add on when it comes to self-care, please put them down below in the comment section and we can help each other improve the quality of our lives. See you guys next time. Bye.